Hi, everybody. This is Saad. Some of you have been following on social media the renewed interest in the uh, industrial scale level rapes of young British white girls over the past several decades. A topic that several of us have been discussing for years. Anne Marie Waters, who was on my show, Tommy Robinson, and many others, myself, and so on. But I'm glad that a greater number of people are now starting to pay attention. In any case, I've been following some of the reactions to that reality. Depending on the estimates, upwards of 250,000 girls in cities up and down Britain, small towns, larger towns, were groomed and raped and gang raped and sodomized in ways that are difficult to comprehend. And the typical answer you get, well, that's not true, it didn't happen. Then you hear, well, it did happen, but we didn't want to react to it because that would create Islamophobia. And then we also hear, but here is a photo of all white pedophiles, and therefore, as if that's okay, right? I already weighed in on the fact that there isn't a monopoly on human debauchery. Men of all religions and all ethnicities and all ages and all religions commit horrific sexual crimes on children. That doesn't take away from the epidemiological reality that in this case the quote Asian men are largely Pakistani Muslim men who oftentimes have argued that it is perfectly okay to be doing this because the girls are kuffar, they're not Muslim. Okay. And certainly you can go and look up the kind of realities that you have in Pakistan proper towards the abuse of children and so on. So, in any case, it's really disheartening because, as I also explained over the past few days, if I were to find out that there were some Hasidic men who were raping young children of any religion, my first reflex would not be to try to protect the Hasidic men and say that's not part of Judaism, they don't represent real Jews and so on. I would be pissed and I would want to, castrate and get those guys executed because my moral compass is such that I care a lot more about the integrity of children's personhood to be free from sexual abuse, irrespective of what the ethnicity or religion of the child is, more than to protect pedophiles who may happen to be Jewish. And I also gave the example in one of my earlier social commentaries on X that I knew a girl who was very, very keen on converting to Judaism many years ago. This is probably around 96, 97. And she told me once a story where she was, she was living in a neighborhood in Montreal where there were a lot of Hasidic Jews. Her landlord was a Hasidic Jewish man. And at one point, when she was late with her rent, he hinted at her that maybe they could come to some alternate arrangement, wink, wink. To which, when she said, "Well, you're a married man," he responded, "Well, but yeah, you're a shiksa." I don't know if he used that word, but it's a derogatory term for sort of non-Jewish woman. So it's not really infidelity. Now, I didn't stop there and say, "Oh, but that's not Judaism. We have to protect this guy. We have to, create a circle of defense around that guy." Uh, I found it abhorrent. I was pissed. I wanted to find out where that guy is and give him some Middle Eastern justice. And he was Jewish because I cared more about the ontological principles of morality than I cared about protecting a guy because he's Jewish. Now, the number of Muslims that I've seen, not only Muslims, also Westerners that I've seen that have come out in unbelievable orgiastic debauchery in trying to defend, deflect what's happened to those girls, in Britain. Some of them will say, "Oh yeah, we're against all forms of rape of children," but then they'll go into, "Yeah, but what about the rape by the IDF and so on?" It always goes. So then I put out a post earlier, just maybe 5-10 minutes ago, and I called it "Important Islamophilic Logic." Islamophilic means love of Islam, so I call this is the IIL acronym of it's a new form of axiom of rationality in quotes. If any Jew commits any criminal act, all Jews are to blame. This is known as the Epstein and Weinstein effect, right? So Epstein was a pedophile, so Jews do it. Okay, so why are you coming down on Ahmed and Muhammad and Mahmoud and Muhammad? Number one. If Israel kills anyone, all Jews are to blame, because all Jews are IDF combatants, including the Holocaust surviving grandmother in Paris. You got that? That's why I keep receiving insults, threats, and so on, because I am the one who's orchestrating the whole IDF. From my visiting professorship in Michigan. If Pakistani Muslims rape 250,000 plus children in Britain and do so using religious and ethnic justifications, Jews are to blame, because it is Jews who control the immigration policy and they let them in. And usually you post some quote by Barbara Specter, I don't know who that is, who's a Jewish woman who is for the open society. Aha! Ahmad, Muhammad, and Mahmoud gang raped your 11-year-old daughter. Mordechai is to blame. Got that? If Islamic terrorists commit 46,000 plus terror attacks in nearly 70 countries since 9/11 alone, number one, they weren't really Muslim terrorists, because that's just the Zionist false flag operation. But let me just finish here. If we do concede that it was Muslims, don't spread this kind of knowledge. Don't feather and tar all Muslims just because of 46,000 plus terror attacks in nearly 70 countries. So you see the totality. By the way, nothing in what I just read is, my hyperbolic satire. I mean, this is throughout the media, social media. I see this all day long. I am the recipient of all this. A decent human being who is equipped with an inviolable moral compass says the rape of 250,000 children by predominantly one group of men is a atrocious crime against humanity, period. Once you say, but, you're a degenerate. Have a good Saturday evening.